Spirit is goodness. And I toiled with the Lord on what he wanted me to talk about tonight. He said he had a word for the house.
All right.
So we're going to go into it. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. I think I'll start at verse 7. And it says, after that, he was seen of James, then of all the apostles, and last of all, he was seen of me also, as of one born out of due time. For I am the least of the apostles, that am not meet to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. And his grace, which was bestowed upon me, was not in vain. But I labor more abundantly than all of them. All of them. Not I, but the grace of God, which was with me. What's grace got to do with goodness? So I looked up this word grace. And this word grace in this passage, it can reference to a few things. In the disposition or the frame of mind and attitude toward another. It's one of favor, one of goodwill. It's an attitude of benevolence. Well, benevolence in the dictionary says this. It's a desire to do good to others. It's an act of kindness. It's a charitable gift.
Yes, sir.
Other words for this in the source is compassion, generosity, goodness. So God, he was talking to me, and he said, you know, Tony, you can preach a good word, you can do music, you can provide for your family, you can teach a house down, but you are who you are because of my goodness, because of my grace. So I come to talk to the ministers and the pastors and those who sing and play and those who usher and those who can preach and teach and those who evangelize, those who have a spirit of healing, a gift of healing, those who speak in tongues, all of you. You ain't nothing without his goodness. You can reach the house down and you can feel like you did something. You are who you are by the grace of God. Paul wrote two-thirds of the New Testament. Paul was gifted. Paul knew his stuff. Paul knew the laws. Paul could break it down. Paul could tear you up with this. Paul said, I labor more than all of them. I was out there doing this. But not I. It's the grace of God. You can sing the house down. You can have a beautiful voice. You can sound like an angel. But you are who you are because of God's grace. You can play the church. You can go overseas and play in another church. You can have 10,000 members, but them ain't your members. You are who you are because of the grace of God. So he told me to come here and make sure we understand something. Because see, listen, I'm going to be honest and transparent. I can be harsh sometimes. But God was dealing with me on goodness, and it just so happened to be that goodness was what was left. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to take goodness. Because I know you want to talk about it. And God will deal with you. And I go, you know what's funny? I went out last night, took my daughter to the mall, and we had a conversation. So I started asking my daughter questions. And God, I'm not going to even talk about the conversation. I'm just going to say God spoke to her daddy through her daughter. And God he's amazing. Don't think that you're so elaborate, so that you are so gifted, that you got it all together, that you don't think you got anything. You see what this Bible says? It says the fruit of the Spirit. So love, joy, peace, meekness, goodness, these are fruit of the Spirit. Without the Spirit, you don't have it. Come on. No good thing that dwells in my flesh. This flesh here ain't nothing good that dwells in this flesh. Yet it's amazing how many people Paul reached until this day. We're being reached by some of the words you know, I'm not going to go back now. I'm going to just give you a quick rundown. You go back to Romans chapter 1, you go through, Paul began to talk about sin and the judgment of sin. And he began to talk about people in their sin and how wicked they got, right? And then you jump into chapter 2, verse 1, it says, therefore thou art unexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest, for wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself. For thou that judgest doest the same things. Now, we can get into this and I can try to break it down to the take all day. The point is, you cannot sit up here and think you are so holy. You can judge somebody for their mistakes and what they do and they sin because it was the goodness of God that drew them. It was the goodness of God that drew you. Just because you saved don't mean you're not going to mess up. It's God's goodness that's holding you together. Now I'm going to verse 4. Or despisest thou the riches of his goodness and forbearance and long suffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leadeth